All right, good morning. We are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for coming for the Enhancing Student Motivation session. I told George I went to his class this morning and took a picture. It's really interesting when you do look for images of like bored college students, some of the things that you come across. Yes, right? So I want to start off, well, first of all, maybe. Okay. Our goals for the session, we're going to be looking at some levers for influencing and obstacles blocking student motivation. So we don't have any of those obstacles at all. We're going to be looking at strategies to promote optimal learning and then making connections to our own courses. So I have a question for all of you all to start off with. Is it the responsibility of the teacher to motivate students? After all, they chose to be in the course. They chose to, to come here and major in this, even if it's a gen ed, they have to have it for requirement, or they chose to be in pharmacy school. Is it our job to motivate them?
Selfishly speaking, it's more fun for me. I'm motivated.
It depends.
It depends. Speak more to that, Walter.
With our gen ed requirements, they have to take. And so, I find in those courses, it's more my responsibility to motivate them. Primarily because our subject matter is such that we want them leading with a better view of scripture and faith than they came in our class. And sometimes with a gen ed, that's hard, especially gen ed Bible, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you're starting with 2.9 strikes against.
Right. Jackie.
I don't know that it's our responsibility, but maybe just like don't make it worse.
Yeah.
Do no harm.
Right. Yeah.
I was thinking about it being our duty to be authentic, because even if there's stuff with a course that is out of your comfort zone or even out of your business area, if you could find a way to make a connection or find the relevance or what have you, no matter if it's yours or not, I think that's what our responsibility is.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's a life skill.
Right.
I think it's a shared responsibility, though, and I think that we need to let them know that. I'm going to work as hard as you do. We're going to come together.
Yeah. So, what is the magic formula? I don't have the magic formula, Nate.
It's like if I do that, I wouldn't.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, there is no single magical formula for motivating students. And I'm actually coming to this session today, like wanting some strategies for myself, for my own class as well, as I'm thinking about a couple of my students I have in mind right now. So I went through one of the things in like the research I was doing when preparing for this said, rather than asking instructors how instructors might motivate students to learn, the broader question, how can I impact student motivation as a prerequisite for enduring learning? And this was that, once again, making those relevant connections, why is this, what's that purpose? And so by kind of turning it into that, instead of necessarily focusing on, I'm going to impact student motivation, I'm impacting learning. And it's not just learning for my class, it's learning for their future and all those connections as well. There were, from Ambrose in the book, How Learning Works, there were 3 levers for influencing student motivation. Value for the student, how important do I find this goal? Nature of the environment, do I feel supported or unsupported? And belief in the ability to succeed. Do I believe I can design and follow a course of action to meet this goal? Because I know a lot of students who may be unmotivated in classes, but then I see them on campus and they are highly motivated to do some other things because they have a goal, they see the relevance in that goal, they feel supported. I see this with my 16-year-old right now, like with driving. he like has not shown any interest in driving, and because mom can take him everywhere, why not? However, video games, he's highly motivated to be gaming on his computer. So like trying to get him, that's not related to classes, but it's a personal motivation thing that I'm, or maybe like making sure you take a shower every day, like for middle school boys, they are not highly motivated to do that. So, so looking at, those three levers, and thinking about how can I relate these to my own class? How can I make sure that they see the value and the goal of the class and what the learning outcomes are? And, do they feel supported in the class? And can they meet the goal? And do they feel like they can succeed? So there are some obstacles. Anyone have any challenges or obstacles of some students who are not highly motivated sometimes? And these are, I'll just give you a moment to read through that. This was from Sandra McGuire, her book, Teach Students How to Learn, and some of the reasons they see. I want you to look through that, but then also, what are some other things that you may have seen with some obstacles of students being highly motivated? Burnout. Yeah, especially for some intense programs.
Students or course.
Yes.
Yes.
I would say we have a lot of students, and I'm sure if I'm seeing this, everyone may be across the campuses, but we have a lot of students who have a lot of things going on at home.
Yes.
So when I was in school, which I don't feel like was that long ago, maybe it was, everybody was just there to be in school. There wasn't all this responsibility to family, to peers, to groups. And so I just feel that the students that come to me that seem to be struggling, it's because they have a huge family situation at home or a financial burden that is really taking up a lot of their mental space.
And I'm seeing some students too who are working, and then they are like, they're going to school, they're working, but then also like sending money to their families as well. And so I've seen, a few more of those students in my class than I have. What else?
Sometimes I have students that spend so much of their cognitive load translating what we're saying. They just don't have any motivation left.
They're just trying. Any of these that you have seen? Yeah, because you teach the transitions students. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm wondering maybe the interest primarily in credentials. It seems to me students are more, or let's see, they're less intellectually curious about just learning in general, because it seems like our education has become more about being, it's not less liberal arts, I guess, and more training for a certain profession. So because of that, I wonder, and I don't know, there may be other social factors that just have made people, students, less intellectually curious in general. Maybe it's too much information overload, just there's too much out there, and so they just want to focus on whatever they choose. But it just seems like something that is widespread with our students is just in general, they're not intellectually curious about it. I now feel like an old guy. Get off my lawn.
Well, Steve and I were talking about like when we started teaching versus now Steve and I have a child in college. So like now we're the same age as a lot of the parents, and it's like they kind of view, differently than maybe I was cool. At least I thought I was cool at one time, but like the jokes aren't hitting, and I don't understand a lot of the things out there now too, as well, to try to make those connections. So McGuire, in her book, she has 21 strategies to promote optimal learning. I also included a handout for you to look at. Once again, you who know me, I don't like to waste paper, so you can share, and there are a few others that we can wait for the next session. And if you'll leave the packet, and then I will email you the electronic copy of this so you can have it as well. These are some different strategies that I came across around motivating students, and I really liked some of the focus areas. So what I thought I would do is, for the last part, is kind of, I'll go through McGuire's kind of categories, and we can look at them, and then like share, oh, this is something that's really worked for me, or this is something that's not worked for me, and or bring up challenges. I know last week, the 11 o'clock session, we talked about a challenge. I have a student right now in my Lipscomb experience class that I'm trying my best to motivate, and nothing seems to be working. And so, I want input, and suggestions from all of you all as well. And I have actually been working with Matt, the Academic Success Center, and trying to motivate this one particular student in mind. So the first category that McGuire mentions is enhancing autonomy. So, allowing the opportunity for choice if possible, weekly goal setting exercise, or discuss attribution with your students. And this was talking, what I get from doing summary. This is a great little book, Teach Students How to Learn, with some nice strategies. So this one, choose by my attribution, that was goal 7, strategy 7. It's a social psychology term, Jackie, how we can explain to ourselves the things we observe or experience. For example, when some students are asked why they received a low grade on an assignment or exam, they might give answers like it was too hard, the things I studied weren't on the test. So giving opportunities to attribute their results to factors they cannot control. And so discuss that attribution with students. And this is where I think for those cognitive wrappers at the end of exams, for teaching students to self-reflect and really look at those. But any of you do any of these?
On the autonomy, with some of my undergraduate classes or underclassmen classes with book reviews, instead of reading 30 of the same book reviews, I give 2 or 3 different prompts for them to choose from. So I'm not having to read 30 of the same ones, and they get choice. So I intentionally did that just to give me something to read differently.
Motivate you.
I mean, to enhance their autonomy.
Yeah, I like that. Other choices.
Matt Hearn used to say, tell students, and I think Lipscomb is similar to that. If you're bored, it's your fault. If you're ever bored, it's on you. It's not on your situation. And that's attribution, I guess, is them taking responsibility to put something effort into.
Yeah, my mom used to say, only boring people are bored. Marcia.
I was last week about that. I said, can I make you learn this? I said, no, I can't make you learn this. We just had a session about you own the learning, but also the support is there. You just need to have. And so we do, for this kind of a hybrid research, all it's configured on the I Wonder paper. And it's based on an iSearch paper that Ken McCoy or somebody did back in the 70s. The C. Pruitt told me that I had no idea about. But they take their own topic, and then they have to interview someone as part of it. And I call it I Wonder. It's an iSearch. I was a little jazzier. I wonder what. And it can be anything they want to know. But they have to do MLA. They have to do, with the research. But the topic is, not interested in it, they should have picked a different topic.
Right.
One of the things that just happened today, I always like to try to relate things back to some sort of reality. Sometimes that's hard to do. With regards to this morning, we were talking about how our water systems and how about 10 years ago, we realized they were getting Prozac in their water supply as a result of massive amounts of depression in the city. So much so that it caused a brain chemistry shift in normal, whatever normal patients are. So then it increased the amount of Prozac, which increased the water supply, and just started to spiral. And so there was a big push of how do we clean up the water. So one of my students piped up and said, so do you think that's why that gave motivation to Colorado to pass legalization of marijuana? And so it allows them opportunities to kind of make those different connections.
Yeah.
I would love to know how do you all increase directed discussion without having to be a free for all.
How do you have a directed discussion without the free for all, or like where you have it, where you also know that you have certain things that you need to cover as well? Magic. Got a magic pill.
In the water supply.
It's in the water supply, yeah. Yeah. Think about that, because that could also, like, the session we'll have in a couple of weeks on enhancing student discussions as well, or in a few weeks. I forgot when it's coming up. Okay, the category of enhancing competence. So take a moment, look at these different strategies for promoting optimal learning. I like this one because it kind of went on with what we talked about last week in the interactive lecturing techniques. 1 to 2 minute interactive activity every 10 to 15 minutes of class time. Any of you use these? In what ways? He's in a meeting. He'll be back to that again.
So one thing that I'm trying this year is instead of just providing lectures with lecture objectives, I've also mapped groups of lectures to an overall goal. So whether that is a course goal or something, higher level, so that there is kind of a hierarchy provided to the students. Like, you must know this overarching concept, and then we're going to unpack it in 2 lectures, and here's the objective of those lectures. And at the end, I'm going to ask you, do you know kind of the overall framework? Like, everything is integrated and ties into that overall goal. Yeah. So it's very thematic, very actionable. I know exactly what I'm going to test it on without obviously telling them that.
On the first one, I picked up somewhere years ago, like on the syllabus, you can say read pages of this book, pages 30 to 55 or whatever for class. And that would be it. But if you put tell students what to look for when they're reading that can help the student, if they look at the syllabus, to think, here's why I'm having to read these pages. Here's what to think about as you're reading it.
I really like that idea a lot.
I learned that after you.
So it gives that purpose, that relevancy but also thinking about wanting your students to read and do the reading assignments. Like, okay, now I'm reading with intention because obviously this is really important because it's in the syllabus. We'll probably be talking about it. That's what I'm saying. Or I'm going to be tested on it, or
I kind of combined that in one of my non-majors classes with the test we really often. So every week they have to read through a chapter. They have to respond what's interesting in that chapter and what's confusing. And it's just a simple do it kind of thing. You can get the campus straight automatically. And it's just low impact in terms of how much time they have to put in, but it has high rewards in the end if they're informed questions.
yeah, I think that like I'm really big on growth mindset and grit, determination for students. And some students have never failed before and like panic when that happens, or they're coming from a system because a lot of K-12 schools now do like the grading for learning, where you can get unlimited multiple attempts to like just keep on, and like if you don't have that, communicating that with them, but also setting them up to feel that success of, if you don't do well now, there are all these other opportunities, and let's look at how you studied and what you studied and set you up for success. I know Ryan Bowen last year did a lot around metacognitive learning strategies in his class. Anyone else? Metacognitive learning strategies. There's a recorded video on the CTL YouTube channel about metacognition in the classroom.
What is metacognition?
Thinking about your thinking. It's all meta. So, and teaching self-reflection opportunities. All right, the next category McGuire mentioned was enhancing belonging and relatedness. I really like this kind of metacognitive get acquainted activity, and I put the 3 questions that she had them answer like on the very first day of class, thinking about what do you believe is important to understand and learn in this class, and what do you believe to be critical characteristics of successful students in this class, and how will you study and prepare for exams or activities, and then have the students talk about that as a get to know you activity. So you're kind of teaching them how to self-reflect early. I was like, oh, what a great, at least in the first week when you're getting to know. But assigning authentic real-world projects, but also promoting cooperative or group learning. How do you utilize some of these strategies?
Go about this a little bit differently. So I teach a lot of first-year pharmacy students, and I see them first week before that, one of the first lectures, and coming from a variety of different backgrounds, very, very different backgrounds. We have students come from here, come from Vandy, come from Nashville State, very, very big variety. Some have degrees when they come here, some just have a year or 2 at Nashville State, get the rest of it. And I've realized as we have more students of various different backgrounds, that some of them don't feel like they belong. They don't feel like they should be. They feel otherness that I don't want to feel in the classroom. And going to diversity talks and stuff that we had, we talked about how if a student doesn't feel like they relate to the professor, then well. So this year, I kind of told them my background, to try to help some of these students feel like they belong. Even if you can't relate to me in every way, you can relate to me some ways. I did this, after class. It wasn't mandatory. It was like right before their lunchtime. I was like, go do lunch. But everybody stayed, and most of them say, thank you, I feel like I belong now, and things like this, and I feel like I'm supposed to be here, and those students that did that, they came up to me afterwards and said, wow, I really feel like I'm supposed to be here and I belong now, and I didn't think that anybody else had gone through this or that or the other thing. They've done well in the class, and that was, I think, really, really helpful. I think if you have a story that students can relate to, and it's getting them to say, oh, okay, this guy gets it at least, and then they work extra hard in that class, whether they realize it or not, they work extra.
What I call imposter syndrome.
Yes.
It's a big deal in medical education. Everybody thinks they belong, everybody thinks everybody around them is smarter and better. So we incorporate it into our organization. So let them know if you belong. The applications you got, you were special, so you belong here.
Yeah.
And it continues on even after education. We try to let them know.
Yes.
It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah. We try to let them know.
Yeah.
This is a real syndrome. It's a real thing. Everyone feels it, and you're supposed to be here. So don't go that way.
If somebody doesn't feel like they're way too cut.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you don't
Yeah.
feel that way, maybe you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is real. Oh my god, I've done a lot of reading around imposter syndrome, and even like for freshmen in college as well. When they're looking around and they have goals and they're like, well, maybe especially for those in my freshman, we call them exploring. They're explorers. They're not sure what they want to major in, and they try something and they're not succeeding in that class, and so supporting them do that as well. Absolutely.
How do we
Yeah.
How do we fix when other professors have no networks?
Yeah.
Like I had a student come to my office. She was terrified, but she came to my office because she had done before the test that I said, okay, people who have scored below this have to come. You can talk to me so we can figure out what's going on or whatever. She had another professor here when she started here in undergrad before she transferred with reason that she went and her grandparent had just passed away or something. She performed a test and went in to talk to her professors, and they told her, well, not everybody's supposed to go to college. Maybe you weren't supposed to be here. And it's like, do I think everybody's supposed to go to college? No, but like this person's here. You don't say maybe you're not supposed to. And then how do we go about fixing that? Especially when somebody in our own institution said that. Would love to get tips.
Yeah. I don't know if that's like my view. I don't think I can fix it, because it's been said, that's something that's going to be internalized for a long time. But what can I do in my class and my intentionality behind? And I think that's where targeted feedback on, when it comes to work that they submit, but also having that belonging and relatedness and reaching out to them. Because I share a story about why I became a K-12 teacher, because my fourth grade teacher thought I did something that I did not do and made me sit in the middle of the room and had my classmates circle up around me and say, everyone had to go around and say something really mean to me. And I was like, I never want another child to experience that I went through. And that's why I became a middle school teacher. That was, one of the things that, and I can't fix what my teacher did, but I think about that. And I know what I'm in control of, what's in my circle of influence, how I can make it to where everyone feels included in my class and not be hateful and to them. So other fourth grade. She also gave us the answers to it wasn't TCAP, but the TCAP testing at the end of the year, because she was retiring at the end of that year and she didn't care. She didn't care, Yeah. So, but what are some other, when you have students who are coming in and they're discouraged,
because they've heard that they can't do it from other people.
Listen.
Listen, yeah.
Well, and I had a student, I'm pretty sure it's the same student, actually, Nick, that's funny, that came to my office, and one of the practices that has just been something we do in our college is when exams are over, you write the average, the high, and the low. Well, she wasn't the low, but she was pretty close, and everyone around her started whispering, saying, oh my gosh, like, can you believe someone made a 56 and say she made a 61? And so I just thought, why don't we challenge this? Like, what's the evidence behind presenting the lowest grade? Why do we need to know the bottom? I get an average. I mean, I don't really know that, I mean, if that benefits an individual student, I don't really get the benefit of a range for your outliers because someone's at the bottom. And talk about now in front of a classroom, I've isolated someone pretty quickly. And so, you know, I think that one of our things we can do is we can go and challenge, hey, why did we start doing this? Can we revisit this as faculty as to someone tell me the benefit to writing the lowest test score on the board for the class to see? Because I'm a little lost as to what that is.
I've been fighting that too. Yeah, I turned it off on mine, but everybody wants it on. It's driving me crazy. Because it's
Oh, yeah, and in Kansas, yes.
Yes, you can turn it off, but then they freak out because like half the class is like, no, I want to know because I need to know where I am. Then the other half is like, well, I like not knowing. And then the faculty is like half and half. Half of them want to do it, half of them don't. I don't see the benefit in it.
I don't see the benefit of the low.
But
Yes, it is a setting in campus.
Yeah.
You can turn it off.
That's true. Because if I get on and say, hey, the average was 80, we had somebody get a perfect score.
Now,
You don't say, we also got somebody get a 41. You know, like,
you still can get an idea based on that. So anyways, I think one of the things we can do is we can challenge, just take a step back from ourselves and be like, hey, wait, why are we doing this way? Is this really the best way
Yeah,
to do it?
because to me, I think that's where we were talking the 11 o'clock last week about the feedback that we give of like, here are some things I saw that people did really well, some strengths, and here's some opportunities for growth in what I saw based on the test results or the paper submitted or something like that, yeah, to targeting as well. Okay, another category, self-esteem. There's my mindset on there, emotions. Let your students know you are human. The struggles, provide early opportunities for success, reflection that, and, you know, and how they've previously achieved mastery, how they've done. I think this, like the let your students know you're human. Last week in the 12 o'clock session, a professor mentioned how he's going to pull out his notes from when he was an undergrad student in the same class and how he didn't do well and on like some problems, and then have the students kind of like look at like, you know, the silly mistakes I made, you know, what would you do like to solve this instead? And I was like, what a great, you know, kudos number one to you for still having it. But, you know, but also using your own, you know, I like to use exemplars all the time, even like incorrect models, and let's work together. Like, how can we improve this? That is on improvement, but then also bringing in like some of your own. So what are some of these things that I think Nate shared as part of your own story as well?
I did have, sorry.
Oh, you go ahead.
I had to move my office, so I went to an old file cabinet. I had old papers and I had written notes every day. They were terrible. I mean, they were, I made A, but they were bad. I mean, they were bad.
Yeah.
They were not what I thought I did as a student.
Right.
Just reading that reminded me of how hard it is as you're starting out. You have to learn this stuff, and so it made me more gracious.
Frame that in your office.
Yeah.
You pass it out, you keep this paper and
Redaction.
What grade would you give this?
What grade?
Good idea.
Yeah.
We started the online oriented BS program in February. And does anyone else here teach fully online courses? You do. It's hard to engage and, you know, have that Lipscomb-filled community.
Yes.
So one of the things that the faith component of the university. So
So one thing we do every week is have a faith discussion on top of, content discussion. And it relates to the course. But I have one student in that course, and I know y'all are like, awesome. But then I had to assume the role of a student and a faculty. So I write a discussion reply. And so as we were creating the curriculum, I was like, hey, I didn't realize how vulnerable it puts you as a faculty to post, an answer to these great discussion boards, but it's been so great. Some people are unsure about the texting with the instructor. I get that, but they'll email or text me. I prayed for your dad this morning because my dad had surgery last week. Because we've been open and been able to kind of give each other support in the faith aspect. That's been really rewarding, talking about bullet point food.
Yeah.
And then in my traditional class, I felt like I've been able to show them that I'm also a human like them. And several respond to things, but it's like, it's been really good.
I'm struggling with cohort self-esteem. So the course that I teach has a terrible reputation. And I'm fighting this pervasive, we can't do it, we hear it's not possible.
Learned helplessness.
From the cohorts above them because of their experience. And so I would really appreciate some guidance if that has ever been an impact on your teaching or your courses. Because there's only so many times I can say, I am teaching this for the first time. We don't know how this is going to go. Let's not throw any expectations on it whatsoever and just let's play it out. But I will do everything in my power to not lose you in the process. So,
My biggest thing there is you're getting that information from cohorts above you. They're above you. They passed it. They're through it.
Yeah.
They made it through. Or I fight not only they have heard of NetCam or whatever, but so many of them have just horrific organic chemistry teams. Just beyond belief horrific. Because let's be honest, a lot of us chemistry people cannot. Some of us can and try really hard to come to things like this.
Yeah.
But some of us don't care. But it's when I have to fight that too, I have to listen to not organic chemistry,
Right.
But yeah, it's way too
Gotta adopt a slogan
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
It's something you talk about explicitly with the class, because I've done that before and it's maybe a little scary to think about, but I say, what have you heard about this class? And you just let the class acknowledge it, put it on the table, say, okay, that's what the reputation is, let's see what we can do.
I haven't done it at large. I definitely asked that question on my interview of the faculty, but not of the students. Yeah. Or at least not as a cohort.
I asked the students, what is your perception of this class on the first day? And had them fill out a Mentimeter, like the word cloud, so scary and gross and all these things popped up. So then I spent the next 10 minutes saying, well, here's what's different from when we did this last year. Here's the improvements we've made. Here's, so you might have felt that way, but you're in better hands than any class that's come before you. And so I think that's one way. Let them voice their anxiety with it, but then here's what I'm doing about it. Here's what we as your faculty about it.
Yeah, and thinking through those metacognitive questions, at the beginning, on that one of things that you can do. And I like the idea of okay, that's the past, and I think also kind of setting the expectations and the norms for your class. Here's how we're going to go forward this semester with this class. So forget about the others. All right, the last one, there was involvement, so enjoyment, so students' interest, switch day to have students teach and evaluate, learning games, give students a question or task that they're required to answer or execute by the end of class. So this is some of those active learning strategies, but also some interest opportunities. So like getting to know them, call them by name, get to know their names. I know that's really hard sometimes when you have a large class, and especially if it's not a cohort-based model either, where you have large class, but getting to know them. And that's one of the reasons why I love teaching at Lipscomb, and having the classes and getting to know students. And then a bonus strategy that she has is partner with your campus learning center. So our academic success, it's talking about like academic success center for students, and partnering with them and really advocating for them as well. But just think about some of these strategies. We have a couple of minutes for application. We've talked about some of it as we went through, but also questions you have, any additional questions about students motivated. So what happens when you've done everything that you can? This is like my question, and it's just, they don't care. The student does not care.
Get depressed.
Just log through. Just
Yes.
do as much.
Move on.
Maybe they're not here because they want to.
Mm,
Maybe they're here because someone else
wants them to be here.
and they wouldn't be motivated. I mean,
Pass them so they don't have to take the class. No.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, this is something for this one student. I'm like, it's Lipscomb experience,
Yeah.
and it's like week 6, and I'm like, what? I'm doing everything that I can possibly do because I want the student to succeed. So, what do I do? That's my first, because usually I'm with grad students, and most of the time my grad students, they're paying for their own education and they want to be there when I teach for college of ed. So.
I had one like that last year. He wanted to be in the Army, and he pretty much said that it was right. I think his parents.
Well, anything else to add, Jackie?
I can't remember what you called it, but would that be an opportunity to call in someone from the CTL to do that last 10 minutes of class maybe?
Yes. Oh, the MAP process. Yes. The mid-semester assessment protocol where we can come in and provide some, like ask the students some questions, some feedback during the mid-semester. I'm actually going to Walter's classes next Friday, and it takes like 20 minutes. The students are in small groups. It's like a small group analysis where they have like 3 questions to answer about like what is the learning goal for the class, what do they really like about the class and opportunities that they see for improvement, and then I type up. And then I have a facilitated discussion with them, and then I type up the results, and then have a one-on-one with an instructor. So, so that's something that Walter next week. You're going to be my first one, Walter. So, yeah.
Ready for some bad?
I was going to say, you're going to need more than 20 minutes for all the effusive praise he'll give you.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I will send you the electronic copy of this packet for motivating students, and appreciate once again that you all joining us. And if you'll put your name tag in the green basket when you go to leave, and have a lovely rest of the week. Yes, thank you. Thanks for talking and sharing.
Mark,